Hello and welcome to ATFX's FOMC preview. Today we're going to be looking at whether the Fed will be cutting rate and its effect on currencies and some of the big commodities out there. The interesting thing that we're looking at today is we're going to go straight from this election impact on the markets and certainly on FX markets into what the FOMC is doing for the dollar. If you're watching financial markets, you will be more than aware that the US election is taking place and the results are coming through actually as I'm speaking at the moment. They are hitting the market and this will link up heavily with what we're going to see from the Fed. We are fully pricing in, it's 92% priced in for the FOMC now, and that they will cut rates by 25 basis points. If they do that, we're not really going to see too much of a reaction from the market. What we will be looking for, of course, is the update that we get from Jerome Powell, the update that we get from the statement, and what happens in the press conference afterwards. Going to be interesting to see whether he mentions the election. I'm fairly sure he will, and see if that comes into, so the political side comes into the central bank side of things. So where we're sitting with the euro, we've seen a dramatic move really off these highs near just underneath 109.50. We're down to under 108.50. We're over a big figure lower, and that has come on the back of the Trump trade. He's sort of taken the lead in a few of the key states, and that's seen that dollar acceleration. We've got a clearly defined range now. It's 109, just underneath 109.50, and the base is coming in here. We've seen a couple of bases, 107.70-ish, a good trend line support here, just underneath that 108 figure. If those break, if we get any change from either the election move or from the FOMC, that could be where we see a new trend starting. And I think most people are in conjunction. We've seen a pullback from the Fed in their rate cut expectations. That's led to the dollar move higher, which has been this move over the last few months from these 111.50s down to the 107.50 level. If we then get Trump on the back of it, this is where we could see the start of fresh new trade. So Trump gets in, that's definitely a dollar positive. Less dovish Fed, and we could see even more less dovish Fed moving forward. If Trump does get in, they will take that into consideration. That could lead to a break of this trend line here and see us into fresh new moves that could open up the way up, certainly to a move down to 105 relatively quickly, and then even back to parity over the longer term. Now, I've just moved over to our dollar yen chart, and something else that we will be looking at very closely as the Fed comes through. We've had the Bank of Japan, we got that nicely out of the way. Here's the moves that we've seen today. So a very strong move. That's the same dollar move that we saw in euro, but obviously it goes the other way around. Dollar's the base currency, moving up from just north of 151. We've topped out, interestingly enough, on this sort of resistance trend line. It's a good one. It's got a few touches in place. We will be looking over the next couple of sessions. And don't forget, we're only a few sessions away from that crucial Fed call. If we see a less dovish Fed, or if we don't get a cut, which would be very, very a massive surprise for the market, expect these levels to break and expect us to send dollar yen back up into these levels, which we must take into account will be very, very precarious for Bank of Japan officials because they don't want to see too much weakness. I've moved over to the sterling chart very quickly as well, which is another one that's been trading very well in line with the dollar moves. Now, the interesting thing, we do have to take this in consideration with the Fed, is we've also got the Bank of England tomorrow. So we could see a lot of movement in cable tomorrow. Both of the central banks are expected to cut rates by 25 basis points. Any difference from those, I would say the opportunity is probably going to come with the Fed again if we see a change in these political stances. So interesting move. We're sitting right in the middle of the range for cable. We've just broken down beneath the 200-day moving average. We've got a nice range to trade in a cable. So 130.50 on the top side, 128.60 on the downside. It's a big range. I will give you that. But certainly expect to see some moves within that, both on the Bank of England and on the Fed. And I'll just move over to our final chart that we're going to be looking at today. That's gold. Gold has had huge moves, as we've seen. We've seen a break today on this short-term resistance level. This is obviously on the hourly chart. It's moved kind of in line with the uncertainty. So gold is the one breakdown where we're not trading the dollar as much, but we're trading the gold. It's seen a nice break to the top side. We've had good reason for markets to move to the top side as well over the last few months, and they have come in with Trump moving into the ascendancy. So This is the one factor that we may see a Trump triumph, where the dollar actually does decrease, because we're going to see a lot more uncertainty in the financial markets. Gold is a favored haven buy, but gold is certainly dominated on this side of the trade. We could see us challenge these all-time highs in short order in gold. So some fantastic trading opportunities out there coming up over the Fed over the next couple of days. If you need anything from us at ATFX, please do get in contact.